Hello and welcome to the Season 11 and Beyond Definitive Jungle Camp tier list. Before we begin, I have a few stipulations I'd like to get out of the way. Number 1, I've been playing this game for well over 7 years and have a deep understanding of how the jungle works. Number 2, during those 7 years I was a support main, and like many others, decided I was really a jungler all along. Number 3, I have over 100 ranked games in the jungle this season, and I'm currently hard stuck silver, giving me absolute authority to make this list. Finally, I play 2 jungle champions, kha'zix and kha'zix with a skin, so I can make fair assessments for all junglers. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's begin. Alright, so first we're going to start off with the rock dudes, Krugs, cause boy, do I hate this camp. This camp is so far out of the way and takes so long to kill that it would be quicker for me to find a girl who loves me, settle down with her, have some kids, see those kids grow up a bit, give them their first computer, they install League on it. They sit down, play a few games, they get good, they're ready for ranked, and by the time they win their first ranked game, I might have killed the medium Krug. I actually read a statistic that said Krugs have fewer deaths per game than the enemy team Diamond Smurf, keeping me out of gold in my promos. For this reason, rock dudes are solidly F tier. Moving on to Red Buff. Red Buff is like the high school drug dealer. He looks really cool on the outside, with his damage and slow, helping you clear and gank early, but his utility falls off the longer the game goes on, because he gets outclassed by like a single item, and your 014 ADC will be taking it from you unless you want to waste your smite on it. However, he certainly is doing his best, and fire is really cool, so Red Buff is placed in the A tier. Raptors, or as I like to call them, prepubescent McDonald's chicken nuggets, are up next. These guys are honestly the worst of a lot of worlds, nearly killing you in the early game and not being worth a whole lot later in the game. Now, the one thing about Raptors that many people see as a downside, but actually isn't, is the fact that they're so easy for both enemy mid laners to take from you. This is a good thing, because it prevents me from wasting my time on these losers and allows me to invade the enemy jungle and die because I have nothing left to farm on my side and all my lanes are pushed harder than these mythic items. So I'd give Raptors a B. Average, you know? Next is wolves. Wolves are a solid camp, and everyone loves dogs. They're almost always up because they're a hard camp for the enemy jungler to take, and because I don't path correctly enough to interact with them. They also have just the right amount of units in their camp, making them fine for both single target and AoE junglers to farm. However, they don't have a whole lot special about them, and I don't even have a joke about them, so I'll give them a B. Ah, the Blue Sentinel, guardian of infinite mana, sage of boundless wisdom, and protector of Amumu's early game. You know, back in the day, you'd always just start blue. It didn't really matter who you were or what you were building. But nowadays, people try to get so fancy with their red buff leases, their invades, their counter invades, their counter invades, jungle warding, and emote spamming. Blue buff reminds us of simpler times and grounds us in the fact that while we may change, League will always remain the same at its core, waiting for us. Always. A tier. Finally, out of the normal camps, we have my boy, the legend, Gromp himself. Gromp's amazing, both in terms of body image positivity and for the fact that he gives a good deal of gold XP, as well as a frickin' heal to top you up as you venture into the river just to die because your mid laner wanted 2 caster minions, and you're left alone to deal with the top mid jungle goon patrol blasting you, but you flash smite the crab, leaving you with 100 gold, a gray screen, and the feeling of wanting to cry, but having forgotten how 2 years ago. Gromp's easily S tier. Now we can talk about the true neutral camps, starting with the Rift Scuddler. This girl plays harder to get than the Star Guardian Lux support, pretending to be a girl interested in you just so you gank their lane, and the only thing worse than that realization is the feeling of getting double crabbed 4 games in a row because Nunu is fun and interactive. However, if you manage to win her love over the 10 other neckbeards in the game fighting over her, the reward of irremovable vision and a speed boost are invaluable. Or at least they would be if my team opened their minimap. S tier. Now, I have a complicated relationship with the Rift Herald. Shelly's like the pair of socks you get on Christmas. Yeah, you'd much rather have the cool new dragon toy all the kids are playing with, but you got Jungle Dift, and now this is all you have. And sure, you'll forget to use it until it's prom night and you have nothing to wear except your grandmother's hand-knit off brown socks? And your date's definitely there just because she lost a bet with her friends, but at least you have this moment, however fleeting. S tier. Now, Dragon's a little overrated. The buffs they provide are cool and all, and securing it early is the biggest morale boost outside of an enemy DC, but there's something about it that just doesn't sit right with me. It's probably the feeling of securing the first 2 easily in laning phase because you finally had a game outclassing the enemy jungler. But the first couple of turrets fall and so does your top laner's IQ, and 12 minutes into the game you have 1 inhibitor up and the enemy's on soul point, and it's really, really unsettling how fast things fell apart. But, on the other hand, Infernal Soul kinda slaps, so S tier it is. And finally we come to Baron. Oh, Baron. No one's arguing against the absolute power that is contained in securing this objective, but holy heck have I lost more games at Baron than anything else. Like, all we had to do was burst it with our double ADC comp and recall before the enemy jungler realizes that bot lane is the forbidden zone 25 minutes into the game, but it is honestly easier to drink chocolate syrup through a piece of paper than it is to corral your team into doing something together, because as gamers, we avoid anything that reminds us remotely of socializing, and it's easier for these ADCs to perma-push top than it is to share the spotlight with your 10-0 Zyra hyper carry support because you flash dove the tower at level 2 and laning phase was horrific. Well, horrific for you. Anyway, Baron's F tier. Sorry guys, just don't. Now you'll notice that there's one tier that's left unpopulated, and you're probably thinking, there's no more jungle camps and you're an idiot. And while that's true, and it hurts my feelings, I'm gonna brush that off and let you on a secret that Riot has never divulged in any patch notes, preseason update, lore snippet, or LCS cast, but a camp so strong that killing it merely 3 times in a course of a game leads to certain victory. That hidden camp is the enemy top laner, specifically one that pushes in early, dies to level 3 ganks, TPs back, and dies again because you sat in the bush like the lowlife you are, trying to cheese out a win any way that you can, tilting whoever is dumb enough to stand in your way. But you won the game. So yeah, enemy top laner, triple S. And with that, that concludes my jungle camp tier list, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did making this, because it's a tough world out there. Laugh a little. Thanks for watching.